today's topic, transforming suffering into purpose and clarity. Of course, this is a very big topic. Some people work on it for a lifetime. So what I'm going to try to do today is to take us through what I think of as a quick, effective way to affect this transformation of eliminating or reducing significantly the levels of suffering and moving towards clarity on why we're here. And there are many challenges that are placing us in a state of suffering, perceptively, internal. We come into the world and just before we come into the world, we remember, we know why we're coming here, we know what we are, who we are, and then as soon as we're born, we forget most of it. And so, to me, that's like in every life, that's where suffering begins, is because we forget. There is a reason for that, and there is a reason for suffering. And I want you to maybe consider the possibility that suffering is not just a byproduct, or it's not just because there is something in it that is a way shower, or that is a way into something else. And that's what we're working towards today, is to recognize that in the suffering there is a gift. And typically where the suffering is the most excruciating, bigger gifts are hiding. And so just keep that possibility in place. As we move through life, we run into trauma, we run into all sorts of occurrences that cause us to accumulate trauma, because unlike most animals, people don't know how to shake off trauma. And so trauma is accumulated. We surround it with energetic bubbles that we think will protect us. Still, triggers go through that bubble and trigger the trauma, whatever happened originally again. In addition, because it's a sort of a concentration of negative forces and sensations, it usually attracts on its own negative energies, like wordings and sometimes entities, all sorts of things. There are the things that we carry with us that are affecting our life even when we don't remember, when we don't know it. Family patterns, generational patterns that are carried the genome, through the epigenome, and through the energy of the family. And there are, of course, the past of our own soul, patterns that repeat themselves through different incarnations that are causing us to have all sorts of blocks that we don't know why we can't do what we are sure that we want to do and we intend to do, and yet we somehow are not successful at it. And sometimes it's in the abundance area, sometimes it's relationship, sometimes it's just self-acceptance. There are environmental issues that are causing us all sorts of suffering too, just where we grow and whether whether the culture is supportive. And so there are many things that affect the creation of suffering. There are what I call the others, so everybody else that puts opinions, judgments, that is doing something that we perceive as about us, and then we internalize whatever was done and make it our own beliefs, negative limiting beliefs, as I'm powerless, I can't change, I don't deserve, they're all sorts of things that we're telling ourselves that did not originate within us. So we can look at ways to shift a lot of these things through the practice that we go through today. And what I want you to also know is that clarity is not something that needs to happen when everything negative or that is blocking disappears. Clarity is a divine gift. You can receive clarity on whatever it is that you need at any time. And you have to be willing to ask for it. You have to be willing to face clarity, because clarity is your truth. And so just be willing to receive clarity, because clarity will typically be associated with what's called your divine need. Not necessarily what the ego wants, although it could be if they're aligned, but it will be aligned with your need from a higher perspective, from the perspective of your spirit guiding your soul. And what is our purpose? Doesn't have to be our job, for sure. Our purpose doesn't have to be what we want to do, like what we want to be really good at. It could be a part of our life purpose. It's probably how our life purpose is expressed. But there is something common and very universal and basic in life purpose, and that is everybody wants to express who you are without fear. So we want to feel free to be able to express exactly what we are in the world, whatever it is. And then when we can allow ourselves to do this, whatever we choose to do, this authenticity will be expressed through whatever else we do.